Hey everybody, welcome to the Green Grind Podcast, where we discuss real experience, real struggles, and real business. And today we're going to talk about some of those struggles, so stay tuned. It's going to be a great episode. My name is LeRoy and I'm with Brilliant Borders Landscaping, and with us as always we have Kory Ballard with Perfect Cut Site Management and Ballard Innovative Products. Find him online. I'm sure you've seen a ton of his videos. And as always, we have Kaz, who is the brains behind this operation that gets us from our mouth to your ears. And today we have Chant from Chants Daily Hustle come down from Minnesota to talk with us a little bit. We're going to interview him and talk about his experience in this thing, his business, and some of the struggles that he's had along the way. So welcome, Chant. Glad you're here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we had the opportunity to go to dinner with him and his wife last night and learn a little bit more about his business and his family and his operation, and it was a great conversation, don't you think?
Yeah, it's fun talking to guys in different markets, and he's in a little bit smaller market and how he makes that business work for him. And he's an entrepreneur, and he's got other things going on, and he's already trying to sell us some embroideries in the embroidery business.
Where'd you get that hat?
We'll let him tell you about that later. But he's an entrepreneur through and through, and I like it. And we love talking about lawn care and business and our journey and struggles along the way. And so we're excited to have him here and learn more about his business. He's from a little bit north of us here in Des Moines, Iowa, but kind of up on the Minnesota-Iowa border, I guess you'd say. And let's kick it off. Let's get to know a little bit about you and your family, and you kind of just some general background.
Yeah, I'm from Jackson, Minnesota, and I've got two boys, 6 and 10, and a wife. And my nationality is Laos. If anybody wanted, people are always asking if I'm Hispanic or what. They tend to think I'm Hispanic. So they'll speak Spanish to me, and I'm not Spanish.
That's awesome.
We don't know much either. Hola.
No say.
So yeah, and that's my personal family.
Awesome. How'd you get into this business? I mean, did you start with the Daily Hustle? Did you start with your landscaping company? I mean, what came first?
What came first was the lawn care. It wasn't even landscaping, so it was just lawn care. My wife and I think, I want to say in 2007, when we bought our first home. We were first-time home buyers. And I didn't realize that I had to cut the lawn, keep our lawn freaking cut now.
It's one of those things that goes with homeownership.
Yeah, homeownership, right? And I didn't know anything about mowing lawns or trimming or anything. But I knew I had to get a lawnmower. And so I couldn't afford a lawnmower. We were just getting our life together, and I couldn't afford a lawnmower. So by that time, I cleaned up my credit. So I went to Sears, right? I was like, man, I cleaned up my credit and I can get a card now. I go to Sears, apply for a Sears card. At that time, they had Craftsman's, in there. Yeah. And so I applied for that card, and I applied just enough they gave me to get that push mower, 21-inch Craftsman walk-behind push mower, and it was $200-something bucks, right? I couldn't even afford $200-something bucks back then to get that mower. We were so strapped, and so I brought that home, and I was thinking, how am I going to pay for this, man? I got a full-time job, but all that money's going to the house and everything else. I said, man, I can't even afford like a $50 payment for a mower or $30. And so I got creative. I went around my neighborhood, knocked on doors, and asked them, I introduced myself, asked them if they had somebody that is already taking care of their yard or their lawn. And out of 20 door knocking, I got one old man. And man, I got excited when he says, yes.
Sure.
First sale. Yeah, and I didn't know nothing about sales, but that first sale convinced me that there's people that's willing to pay me to cut their lawn. And I did that every week. Paid off the mower. I was like, damn, this is awesome. So then I was still working full time at out on industrial in Jackson there, making medical cables. And the lawn care slowly, like I started getting momentum, right? You start picking up some more accounts. It's like, okay, I'm making more money mowing lawns than working 40 hours in a factory job.
Sure.
And so that's how we got started in the lawn care. Was just
you know what
that.
that's exactly why we do this, man. It kind of gave me chills. I freaking love it. That's what's so cool about America. That's what's so cool about each one of us getting to do. And we all have the same 24 hours each day, and we all have the same opportunity to do something. Man, I freaking love it. I started with the push mower as well, but man, I just love that. You know, just the reality of how do I pay for a $200 lawnmower? I mean, that's the reality, and man, that's awesome. I love
going from how do I pay for a $200 lawnmower? Barely getting enough credit to even get a $200 lawnmower to where you are today. I mean, it just goes to show
that's freaking awesome.
What a little hard work
and
some effort will do.
Just repeated the process. It convinced me that, dude, if this works, it's going to work along the way.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And when did that start to grow into, when were you able to step away from that job that probably had benefits? And when were you able to say, I think I can do this on my own? I mean, I think I can do this full time.
Right. So I was working a full-time job at that factory job, plus I was doing the mowing, and then mowing was kind of like the hobby type. Well, at that time I quit drinking and I quit partying, and so I didn't have nothing else better to do, right? And I didn't have any friends at that by that time. And so this mentor, this guy comes up to me, and I went to treatment for my alcohol and drug addiction. We were at a picnic, outpatient picnic, and this guy comes. I think he was about, I don't know, 60 something. He comes to the picnic. He saw something in me that I couldn't see in myself. So then he says, "Hey, Chant, you need a job? I need some help at my shop." And I was still doing full time at my factory job. I said, "Sure." I went. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but I knew that there was an opportunity to learn something from this old man. And that's when I worked out there with him. He had me do things that were uncomfortable, right? And I hate talking to people. And he'd send me out. What he did was iron work. So we welded stairs, iron stairs and stuff like that, and urn stands for cemeteries. And so he would give me these assignments to go deliver these to these strangers like I've never met. And these are the things that I've never been shown or even like deal with. And so he helped me along the way do those things. And then you get to see this business side of how he's operating. I was so amazed that I'm thinking, man, how does this guy pay somebody to help him? It's costing him $300-400 a week. I was like, at that time, I was like, it blows my mind. How does somebody do that?
Yeah.
And then I got to thinking, man, he's doing something right. And so he took me out to Entrepreneur. He took me to this convention, Entrepreneur, right? I was all dressed in baggy jeans, man. I was just white T-shirt. I was still in my old way of
thug days.
Yeah, like my old habits, right?
Sure.
It was still there, and I couldn't change it. And so he took me to these events, and these guys were wearing suits. They're all professional, man. They look great. I walk in, I was out of place, but the guy I worked for didn't care. He didn't say, "Chant, you should go back home and change. You should do this. You should do that." He let me feel uncomfortable.
Let you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, in that place. And here he's shaking hands with these people he doesn't even know, talking. And that's the first time I got into understood networking, connecting with people. And so it was awesome, man.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a great. It's great that a lot of times people see things in us that we don't see in ourselves. And this guy took a chance on you, and you could have said no, and it probably changed your life. and to learn and get outside of our comfort zone. And
Definitely.
Again, I think I saw one of your posts where, talking about speaking in front of people. That was one of my biggest fears, and I do it a lot today. That's tough.
Yeah.
And when we're most uncomfortable is when we learn the most. And,
Right.
And that's certainly a cool story, a cool journey.
Yeah, it is. It is. And, it's interesting that, everybody has a mentor, it seems like. You know, it's at some point, it sounds like that guy was a mentor to you and that kind of thing. Tell us about the Daily Hustle. What is the Daily Hustle? I mean, you see that all the time. Chants Daily Hustle. What does that entail, and why did you start that? What is it?
Well, it started out, I think I was 7 years in my business, landscaping, lawn care business. I got bored, man. I was making money, but I got bored because nobody knew me. No, like when I don't get a chance to share, it gets boring. So 6, 7 years in my business, I was gonna quit lawn care landscaping. I found YouTube, got a chance to share it, right? And it was under my Singvongsa landscaping channel. Well, nobody could say my last name. Nobody couldn't figure who I was, right? And then I was doing videos on YouTube, uploading them. And I said, I got to change this because I'm doing everything, just trying to pay the bills. I was doing, at that time, we had the lawn care, landscaping, laundromat, photography, phone repair, all these things, right? I'm hustling, just trying to pay the bills. And so that's when the Daily Hustle became a name. It was on YouTube.
Awesome.
Okay.
I like it. That's how I found you. It's funny. I knew of you before I knew you, obviously, and the license plate on my motorcycle says hustle. The license plate on my car says grind. I mean, so I saw it. I'm like, I wish I would have thought of the Daily Hustle. But it's awesome. Your gear looks good. Matter of fact, I just took his coat from him. I said, I'm going to order one of those. I'm going to order one of those coats. It's an awesome coat. You guys should check out the Daily Hustle on their website. But anyways, and he'll tell you how to
Please
find
come
him.
down, and Kory's going to steal your coat.
If you come down for a podcast, I might steal something from you. I said, hey, I'm going to jump on and order one of those. He's like, it's a medium. You can have it. Amazing. But yeah, check out. We'll get you directed to his stuff here at the end again. But he makes some cool stuff, and it's super motivational. And that's that entrepreneurial part. And you're in a small community, and so you're searching for other opportunities.
Right.
I think as an entrepreneur, and you made a couple comments last night that were spot on. There's entrepreneurs, and then there's kind of the wantrepreneurs, and then there's some people who just aren't cut out for it. Just because you can buy a truck and a mower doesn't mean you're an entrepreneur, and there's nothing wrong with that. But our goal with this podcast as well is, the reality is there's a lot of guys that have that factory job and they mow on the weekends, or they're a firefighter and they're 3 days on, 4 off, and how do they make that leap? And it's scary. It's scary for them to make that leap. And
well, I just want to share that leap, right? When I had enough accounts, mowing accounts. At that time, we didn't have snow accounts. We were just mowing, and I took that leap. I knew we had enough accounts to get through the season, but what if it dries up, right? I wasn't sure. I took the risk of jumping, just scared, I was afraid. I did it. I couldn't sleep the first night. I quit my full-time job. Because there's no end, you don't know where the income's coming.
There's no turning
anymore.
back. Once you quit.
There's no turning back. So I took all my 401k out, took that money. I said, now I don't got retirement, nothing. I'm taking this money and sticking it all into my business.
So you're all in.
You're all in. It's one of those deals where it's like, I'm taking that risk if I want to go in there.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, entrepreneurs understand that, but the people that work for somebody and do the 9 to 5 or whatever that is will never understand that feeling of that risk that you take, and that, man, what if this doesn't work? What have I done here?
The all in, and and LeRoy told a story in our first podcast. It was just him and I, and there was a moment where he was going to sell his company. It was much smaller then, and would have sold it if the deal would have went through. And I think today you're more thankful than anything that deal didn't go through, because there's so many times, we're close to throwing in the towel. And I believe you've got to be all in. I don't care what you do in life, what industry you're in. I talk to my 16-year-old daughter. I don't care what she does, as long as she's all in. you know, when I talk to other business owners, and even had opportunities to invest in their business, and they don't want to quit their full-time job, but they want me to invest in their business or whatever it looks like. I can't be all in if you're not all in.
Right.
You know, if you watch the Shark Tank, which we probably all do, and it's motivational, but you know, Mark Cuban, a lot of, you know, I want to be with somebody that's, if they're not confident enough in themselves that they're willing to go all in, I'm not willing to go all in.
They got to put the skin in the game.
You've got to be, you've got to be at risk, and some of it, you know, I'll self-admit, you know, fear. The fear of failure has driven me through many a tough times. I mean, I'm scared to fail. Today, with 30 years experience, I still am. I'm full of fear. I want, what if, you know, and I think. What do you do with that fear, and how does that hopefully keep you motivated and driven is the challenge, because there's so many tough days as a business owner, and how do I make payroll Friday, and did we collect our money, and those are tough things that as business owners we face on a ongoing basis. And you know, LeRoy's company, like I said, he was thrown in the towel.
I was done. I was out. I was going to go back to work for somebody else. And you know, fortunately, it didn't happen. And like I said in that episode, you know, we were trying to unload it on some sorry soul that knew more than I did at the time, because it wasn't worth anything. You know, it just wasn't. And he knew that, and I didn't know that, but I do now. You know, it wasn't worth a dime. I wouldn't have given myself $5 for it at that time. You know, it just wasn't worth it. So, yeah. And you know, we all face those struggles. But how do you balance your work-life family, Chant? I mean, you're constantly doing videos. You know, you got this embroidery thing. You've got this landscaping, this lawn care, this
Daily
videos.
Hustle.
I mean, it's all going on. What do you ever see your wife other than in the videos that we see? I mean, how does this?
To be honest, I'm still trying to figure that out myself.
Yeah.
Balance life. I'm doing my best that I can do. Being a husband, being a father to my 2 boys, it's very tough. You know, there's times that I've missed my kids' game. I've missed stuff. My wife, you know, that as a family, just to keep the business going. That's the reality of what we've gone through, and the neat part is that you have to have an understanding partner to know that this is part of the business. I'm still trying to figure that out, but it works for us. You know, my wife and I, she works in the embroidery shop with me. She handles all that, and then we go home, and now she's with the kids, and she knows more of the kids' schedule. To be honest, she knows more of the kids' schedule and what the kids are doing than I do. All she has to do is tell me where I need to be, and we'll schedule that in. We'll fit that in. And I make it a priority to try to make it to my kids' game and everything. But when I first started, it was worse. There was a time where I didn't make to a lot of stuff. But that's, you know, that's the reality of, I think, for us, for me anyways, of growing the business. I'm still trying to figure that out, but we're not killing each other at home. It's fine.
That's where I was going with this. So, you know, working with your wife, again, we talked about this earlier, and LeRoy's wife had worked with him. My wife works with me at the Ballard side, and are you guys able to disconnect at home and not, are you able to disconnect from the business at home, or are you still talking business?
She can disconnect, but for me, I find myself like at 10 o'clock at night or 1, 2 in the morning, if we're still up, I'm asking, hey, did you see that email?
Did you get that order out?
I'm still, and we respectfully, you know, we somehow still talk about that. It's like it never leaves for some reason.
The right partner is so important, and this isn't marriage counseling. You can get that on Dr. Phil. He's got his own podcast as well. He probably has a few more followers, but doubtful. We're kind of a big deal. But yeah, you know, you got to have people in your corner. You know, sometimes it's family, sometimes it's your spouse. You know, and we talk to a lot of guys, and we won't go down a rabbit hole with this. We talk to a lot of guys that, you know, my wife's mad at me because I work hard hours, and all the guy, you know, he's just trying to provide, and there is that balance, and you know, and it's tough as an entrepreneur, again, because we talked about this earlier. You know, when do I put my phone down? I find myself sitting at the dinner table sometimes with my kids, and I'm answering questions on Facebook or Instagram. The truth is, 45 minutes, I can answer it in 45 minutes, but I
Right.
have this sense of urgency, and I think that's part of kind of our nature as business owners.
Yeah.
You know, and trying to disconnect and be a part of our kids' lives, because as we all know, that
Yeah.
time keeps flying
Yep.
by, and you don't get those days back. And
Definitely.
you know, but we all, I think, want better for our kids than ourselves. And so how do I want to show them that hard work pays off, and I want to show them that it's a tough world out there,
Yeah.
man. It's a tough world out there, and I want to show them that you know, you got to put the work in. And
Yeah, like you said, you know, that you gotta have an understanding partner. My wife, she never says you work too much. She doesn't say I work too much. I'm better off where we're at right now than where we were, you know,
Right,
15 years
yeah.
ago.
right.
Yeah. Well, and we talked about that in our first episode, you know, how our wives are supportive of what we do, and there are guys out there that their wives are not. And
Yeah, that's hard.
And
That'd be tough.
there's nothing worse, you know, than coming home. You know, you busted your ass all day.
Yeah.
It's hot. You're sweaty. You know, you just want to go home and relax. But you go home and your wife's all over your case.
Yeah.
That you can't do that. And you know, there are guys out there, and I feel sorry for those guys. But man, it's a tough life.
It's a tough, yeah.
It's going to be a tough go of it to make
Yeah,
that
it makes
happen.
it makes it tough
Because you're
and-
not on the same page.
They're not on the same page, and you have to have tough conversations. And your business, or your business is a lot like a marriage as well. And you have to constantly work on your marriage. You work on your business,
Yeah.
and you hopefully have an understanding of why we do what we do. And
Yeah.
it's funny you say that, because my wife handles our kids' stuff, but she puts everything on my calendar.
Yeah.
Yesterday I had my son's kindergarten, you know, conference. You know, not a whole lot goes on in kindergarten, but. It just pops up. I got 9 a.m. I got to
Yep.
be there, and she is super supportive of. She just knows who I am. I don't sleep much. I'm a guy that just goes. Thank God she keeps me organized, because I actually even asked her, what school does he go to again? You know,
Yeah.
I can't keep track.
When
of
do we
what-
pick them up?
Yeah.
Like,
What
I
time?
don't-
She's like, it's the same time every day.
Yeah.
What time is it?
Right, yeah. There's a lot going on in this brain up
Yeah.
here, don't you know? So
Yeah.
But yeah, that's great. What you know, one of the things that you do in your videos is you show a lot of your snow removal operation, a ton of your snow removal operation. I think a lot of guys, I like watching snowplow videos. I'll sit on there on my iPad, and my wife's like, "What are you doing?" I'm watching a snowplow video. Why?
Right.
Because it's cool. You know, that's just what I like to watch. And I watch some of yours. And tell us a little bit about your snow removal operation. I mean, how many crews you run,
Right.
and how much snow are you pushing? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we have about 6 commercial accounts, okay, that we do, big parking lots, and we start like the season. Start of the season we'll have about 10 people, right? By right now, we're down to 4, and our operation is we use a lot of skid loaders and trucks. We don't have any of the big loaders, you know, and that's what we do. A lot of commercials.
Sidewalk crews as well, obviously.
Yep. We've got probably 2 or 3 residentials we do. That's about it. And yeah, the rest is.
Because your parking lots are big parking lots. Those
Yes.
6. I mean,
Yep.
they're big. They're not like
Yeah.
a little strip mall or something.
No.
They're big parking lots. Yeah, that's what I thought. So
Yep.
What are some of the best pieces of equipment you found that work for you? I know you really push that Bobcat S70.
Yeah.
And you know, great for sidewalks and those types of things. And obviously you're happy with that. What other pieces of equipment have you found that are great pieces of equipment and work really well for you?
Boy, with the trucks. I mean, the trucks. We enjoy being in the trucks. For it just feels comfortable, you know, just knowing that you're just pushing forward, or you know, going back, pushing, and you can see everything.
Yeah.
And for the big parking lots, you know, and a lot of people have been telling us to go with the bigger loaders and stuff, and I definitely want to try that, but we would have to get our accounts on, you know, like you said, more of our accounts on the contract, because some of ours is on per push,
Sure.
and some of ours is on contract. But when we start transitioning into the contract, that we talked about, LeRoy, that it gives you the funds to maybe look into
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, and kind of what we talked about is, I think you were talking earlier with somebody when we were talking about it, but getting those contracts on, rather than just a 1-year deal, getting them on a 3 or 5 year obligation.
We try to do 3-year contracts on a pretty standard basis, so we at least, if we're going to make some capital investment, we know that we're locked in. And again, any contract can be canceled within 30 days by either party if it's not working or if you don't perform well. But at least if I'm going to invest in some equipment, I've got some longevity here. And and really, you're in a smaller market, so is that, I'm guessing you're probably dominating that small market. Is that a challenge for you to grow your company in all, the maintenance, the landscape, and snow? Is that, are you capped out? Is that a challenge?
You're just capped out, right?
I mean, there's not much more you can do.
You just say that there's only so much work there.
Sure.
It's not growing. Like I came down to Des Moines here. I see growth everywhere here.
Right.
In Jackson, we get 1 or 2 houses built a year. And it's very hard to expand. So then you got to get creative of trying to dominate the industry. And so our name, our brand is out there.
Is that why you think you've expanded into some other lines of business, so you can try to offer, again, the embroidery side and those other businesses, so you can continue to be challenged? And because if you're capped out in your business based on just purely the amount of people and the amount of businesses, so then you branch out into some other things that you find challenging and enjoyable, and obviously you want to make them profitable, and that's the key to everything. I don't think anybody needs to be ashamed that we're trying to make profit.
Right.
We want to take care of our families, and so being in a smaller market, I can definitely
you have to
see a
get
challenge.
creative. You have to get really creative, because I'm looking at here what you guys are doing. If I move down here, there's plenty of work for everybody down here, and even to expand. Because I see that here.
Right.
It's crazy. But in our small town and small community, it's, like you said, it's maxed out to the amount of money you can make.
That's interesting to hear, and I've talked to Kory about this too, and it's, you've told us that, and, we take for granted here the amount of business, the amount of growth in our economy and those different types of things. And, hearing somebody come and tell us, in my community, they build 2 houses a year. This is all we have. We have no new businesses coming to town. And
I look at the building permits, and I think they're pulling between 500 and 600 building permits in the metro a month.
It's insane.
It's crazy.
So they're building between 500 and 600 homes a month in all of our surrounding, Des Moines and the surrounding communities. And those houses are all, I'm going to say 300 and up. So irrigation,
they all need to be taken care of.
So somebody's going to have to maintain those. And as we talked earlier a little bit, most people are dual income families now, so mom and dad are both working. So somebody's going to have to service that irrigation system, lawn, whether it's the lawn application, someone might, whether the husband mows or doesn't mow, or the wife mows, and do they have time to do the snow removal, and do they want to do the snow removal? They might have to be at work at 6 a.m. They're not going to be out there shoveling, running a snow blower. And so, in our market, there's in Des Moines, there's a lot of companies. There's a lot of successful companies, and there's a lot of small guys as well. But LeRoy and I are in the same business on on some level, and we don't compete necessarily, but
there's plenty of work.
So much work that
everywhere.
We just stick to our game plan. He sticks to his game plan. We don't tell him any top secret
Someday
stuff.
we'll get it.
I'm very, we just got to dance around that stuff a little bit.
But it works well. And, the nice thing about it is in our community as well, with all the people that we have, people are willing to help. When I first met Kory, we kind of, we talked a little bit, and he's been more than willing to help us. And, like we talked at dinner last night, we can't go do Mercy Hospital. We can't go do Facebook. We just simply don't have the capabilities to do that. And a lot of guys understand, what their place is in the market, and a lot of guys don't, and those are the guys that end up in trouble. They go take on Facebook, and they can't handle it, or they go try to.
They better not
to do to do something too big, and they simply can't do it. And we see a lot of that, and businesses are built on guys that do what they say they're going to do, and do it when they say they're going to do it, and have the work done and done correctly. And Des Moines is a great market. It really, really is. And I used to not like living here, and I absolutely love this town because it's a great town, and you know, there's a ton going on, and our economy is
Right.
stronger than ever.
Hey guys, stick with us. Just a quick word from our sponsor.
Are you looking to be more efficient, effective, safe, and profitable out in the field? Ballard Products has a full line of innovative products to help you in your everyday operations. From mower gear, trailer gear, backpack sprayers, equipment racks and storage, safety gear and equipment servicing products, and much, much more. We're sure you'll find something you can't live without. With over 30 years in the lawn care industry and 20 years selling great products, we're confident these products will meet the use and abuse of the everyday lawn pro. Jump on Ballard-Inc.com to check out the full line of gear, and be sure to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube as well. Keep grinding and be safe out there, friends.
Yeah. Do you? So that small community as well. Finding people.
Yeah,
Is that one of your biggest challenges? I mean,
it's
if
a big
you only got so
challenge.
many people, and then you've got some manufacturing type businesses out there, would you say that is probably one of your bigger challenges? If you've got most of the work that you
Yeah.
want, how do you get the people?
Right. That's a challenge for us too, is finding people. You know, through the years, we lose people, we hire people. It's a constant battle on that. You know, there, like I said, there's work too there,
Yeah.
but it's keeping the help. You know, it's a struggle on that.
Absolutely. What else are we thinking here? We got a
Well,
lot of stuff.
yeah. So one of our taglines, and one of the reasons we started this business this podcast is real struggles. And you know, everybody gets on their podcast or their YouTube thing and says how well they're doing and how great they're doing, and you know, some of the struggles that you've had, you know, Kory and I have had, and that's with some sobriety, and you've
Right.
been pretty open about that, and talking a little bit about, you know, your story behind that, and you know, I've certainly struggled with it, and fortunately have cleaned up my act a little bit, and my business has flourished with it, and certainly become just a better member of society. Tell us a little bit about your struggles with that, and
Right.
and what you did to overcome some of that stuff.
Yeah, so I was struggling with drugs and alcohol. By the time I was 21, I quit drinking and using drugs. 21. And man, I thought I was still young, man. I was like, I got so much time on my hand. I'm 21. Why am I quitting drinking? Well, I had a problem. So that was the hardest part, was to change how I thought about life and what I did. And so when it came to sobriety, that was my number one goal, was just to stay sober and stay clean. Because without that, man, I'm a freaking mess. And business wouldn't be what it is today, you know.
Yeah.
Both Amy and I were sober and clean, you know, and that's the way we like it,
Right.
you know. And that's the hardest part, is that, well, I always tell Amy, I said, if we lost everything that we built, I said, we can get it back.
We'll be okay.
We'll be okay. I'm sober, I'm clean. I'll get that back faster if we lost everything. You know, that's why I think I'm a very high risk person. That's why I take that gamble. I'm gonna buy, I'm gonna invest, I'm gonna take, just like everybody that, you know, is in the business. It's
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I appreciate you being open about that, and because you know, guys, we probably got a lot of listeners that you know that struggle with that stuff, and you know, and you're a quicker learner than I am. I'm also sober now, and you know, and I did a lot of years where I was destructive, and you know, and I had to find a better way to live, and
Right.
A better way to be a better, you know, LeRoy said it best, just a better member of society, and be a better father and a better friend, and a better husband, and better business person, and
Yeah.
you know, I think a lot of people struggle with that, and I think maybe more even entrepreneurs with that mindset of, you know, we're driven. You know, for me anyways, I'll just speak for myself, you know, more is always better, more everything. I want more, and nothing fills me up, you know, and so I do everything full, and that's how I drank, and you know, and that caused me to go down a path that wasn't best for me and my family, and I caused a lot of hurt and pain along
Right.
the way, and I'm a little slower learner than you, so I went ahead and carried it out for maybe 20 more years than you did. But you know, that's awesome. I mean, we appreciate that you open up about that, because hopefully somebody's listening that if they're looking for a better way to live, we're not preaching on that. But if
Yeah.
you're looking for a better way to live, and and you're struggling with those things, man, there's
There's help out there.
There's help out there. It's just a better way, and there's so many people that want the best for you, and you can live a much better path. And LeRoy always makes a comment. It's just, I think you say it best. It's just easier this way.
It's just easier being
easier
sober.
Yeah.
You don't wake up in the morning with the throbbing head, and and Chant and I were talking about this a little bit earlier too, and you mentioned this in one of the episodes that we've shot too, that we have 25, 30 employees now, and my job, what I do daily, I've got 20 to 30 guys relying on me to run a business to provide for their families, and that's a pretty big thing to think about. And that's there's a lot of decisions that need to be made with not just what's in my best interest, but what's in the best interest for our organization overall. And if my mind's not clear and I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, I make the decision that's best for me.
Right.
That's the decision that I make. What's best for me at that time, and those aren't the decisions that I need to be making. I need to make decisions of what's best for my family, what's best for these other 25 families that we're providing for with our organization. And it's just I don't worry about going to jail anymore. I don't I don't worry about not having any money anymore. All that stuff's gone away since I quit drinking, and it's just so much easier way of life. And the friends that I have today, and the business acquaintances that I have today because of it are by far better than they ever were.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
Just a much easier way of life.
Yeah, it's interesting. It can be a lonely path in the beginning, and you start to to figure out who your real friends are, and again, you mentioned a guy picked you up and taught you things that you probably wouldn't have done, and people usually see things in you that you don't see in yourself, and that comes from sometimes our childhood and just the questions and fear and things that we have, and we try to fill that gap with anything that makes us feel better, and if we can channel that energy into our businesses, and I think then the results are usually just so much better, and you can just tenfold the results. And the other thing is you find that you have a lot of time. I find I have a lot of time, and you can get up at 4:30 in the morning and get after it every day, and hopefully be a good influence and positive influence in your family's life, your friends' lives, and for me, show my kids they don't have to see that guy that I was,
and the neat part is that when I got sober and clean, now it's like you said, it's my responsibility to keep my words. Like before when I drank and used, I'd say, hey, I'm going to show up at your house 10 o'clock. Dude, I wouldn't be there at 10.
You didn't say what day.
Yeah.
I mean,
like, dude, okay, I'll be there. I keep saying I'll be there. And I'd promise my wife that. I'd say, I'll promise you this, promise that. None of that happened.
Yeah, 100%.
Nope, I
So-
get it.
It does. We now you can do what we say. We are what we say we're going to be.
And
There's
we
a sense
feel
of
bad.
accountability.
We feel bad if, like now I can actually feel and be remorseful of what my wrongs. I'm always thinking, okay, is it me that's doing what's wrong? To the other. You have more feelings, man.
Absolutely,
you think about stuff more.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So-
You can see the good in the world, and you can be more empathetic to people, and try to be a better leader, and be an example, just a role model for those. And people see how you, they just see how you carry your life, and hopefully that maybe helps somebody else.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things I love about the journey I'm on as well. Is just people see that, man, he's they can see it in me before I can see it in myself. They can see, man, that guy's on a much better path. He's happy. He seems like he's got it together, and
Definitely.
and it's a daily challenge. And so if anybody's listening that struggles with that, we won't beat that up anymore. But appreciate you being candid about that, and we'll keep doing what we need to do to stay on that path, because it's important to all of us. And let's looking back at your business, you got an awesome story. I love your story, the push mower, and how am I going to make this? How am I going to pay for this Craftsman? But was there a big moment? Was there a moment when you thought, I made it, or where you felt like, okay, we got a real business here? Was there a moment that you woke up and thought that, or?
Yeah, when we got our first commercial account for snow removal, it was big. I mean, it was big bucks then, but it wasn't big. It's not big now,
Yeah.
you know. But when I got my first commercial account to do snow removal, I had to like be committed, like be in it. How am I gonna push? How am I gonna move this snow at this townhome complex type deal? We figured a way, you know. We figured a way, and we started out with a little. Dude, I rented this skid loader. It's a small 4-foot, 30. Is it 36? No, not 36. It was a 4-foot wide bucket, and man, it putted, right? But I rented it from a farmer. He said, "Hey,
No heated cab.
no heated cab, nothing. It went like 3 miles an hour.
Frozen.
Yeah. So we invested in this. The company didn't know what we had, but we told them we can get it done. They just knew that we were going to get it done, and we did with that little frickin', oh my God, I don't know what it was, but it was cold, and we did it. And slowly we helped us invest in other equipment.
Sure, and that was kind of a moment where, like, hey, I'm in.
Yes, I'm in. Okay, if these guys, if we're in now, making a few $1,000 here, let's scale. Let's see who else we can take on.
Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, we've all done that, you know, and had the wrong equipment, and we figured out a way to get it done.
Yeah.
I had just pure will, and it wasn't the efficient equipment. It was
Right.
frozen cold, shovel. I mean, we've done it all. I mean, I've been behind a shovel when the sidewalk crews didn't show up.
Yeah.
I've been in a pickup truck. You know, you pull into a lot that requires 3 trucks and 2 skid loaders, and I pull in there in
Yeah.
a Chevy S10 with a 6-foot blade.
It's great.
Yeah.
And I'm looking around like, there ain't no way I'm going to get this done. But
Yeah,
you
you
just
do
do.
it.
You just do. You stay there till you stay there till it's done. And
Yeah.
you know, you got to take some of those risks and then just figure it out.
Right.
Yeah, we did a lot of figuring out. I mean, we were talking last night a little bit. You know, our business started as the edging, and somebody said one day, "Can you put a patio in?"
Yeah.
You know, I don't say no, so yeah, of course we can. You know, never put a patio in before, and I remember
YouTube it.
Yeah.
but that's exactly what my wife's like. How are you going to do this? I'm like, we're gonna watch a YouTube video
Yeah.
tonight, you know, and that's what you do. But you know, you talked about you know, what seemed big then doesn't seem big now, and you know, everybody's company starts where it starts. You know, you don't get to a $30 million company in 3 months, in 2
Right.
years. You know, everybody starts small, and you know, you start with the push mower, the small little John Deere mower, whatever you're doing, and that's where it starts at. And
Right.
I think so many guys look at, you know, big companies like your company, Kory, or you know, other big companies and think, man, I'm going to get
Right.
there someday. And you know, some guys don't want to be there, and that's
Right.
okay. And you know, being small is not a bad thing a lot of times.
No, I agree. I think we were talking earlier. You know, I think everybody has to find what their comfort level is.
Yeah.
And there's those sweet spots, and it does. I don't care how big you are. You know, are you comfortable? You know, are you profitable? Can you take care of your family? Does it meet your, you know, bigger's not always better.
Right.
You know, and I think a lot of guys think that if they get big, they're going to have to, you know, they won't be able to, you know, I won't have to be there. And again, I share this a lot. I haven't seen that
Yeah.
at any size, especially in the service business that we're in, and any service business probably for that matter. You got to be hands-on if you want to be successful long term and you want it to be sustainable.
Right.
You know, I just don't see a lot of successful business owners that are not connected to their business.
Right.
You've got to be in there, and maybe not making every decision day to day. You've got to empower your people. Otherwise, you're going to wear every hat, and then
Yeah.
you can't be away. You can't take a vacation with the kids and
Right.
wife, and because nobody knows how to make any decisions without you.
Without you.
So you got to empower people, and sometimes you got to let them make mistakes. A lot of times
Yeah.
you got to let them make mistakes, and then you can just rehash it. Hey, why'd you do this? Maybe next time we do it this way. And sometimes you got to watch people make poor decisions just so you can, you know, learn from them. And because if you micromanage it, you know, you can analyze yourself to death too
Right.
as well, and you can overanalyze to almost a crippling effect.
Yeah, without a doubt. So,
Definitely.
John, what's some of the best business advice you've ever been given?
Take risk. Man, I think, well, I hear this a lot, right? I guess I'm not telling everybody to go out there, go in debt and all this, right? But I feel that part of business is debt. And I started out, as I mentioned, right, about borrowing $250 because I didn't have $250. A lot of people will get creative and go borrow somebody's, which is fine, but borrowing somebody else's more and then using it, building it up. But if anybody's like me, I'm very impatient. So I literally, I knew that everything that we've done, as long as we're making money, if we can leverage, I know a lot of people don't like this, leverage debt, right, to grow. A lot of people don't like that. I don't mind it if we're cash flows coming in and we're paying for stuff and we're building the business, and for me, that's when my business went to another level. It was when I wasn't afraid to take out money.
Yeah.
That's not my money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got to borrow money. I mean, there's a lot. You got to borrow money, and you got to borrow smart money, and you got to use it to your advantage. I mean, there's no way we could have grown our company without a lot of debt.
Exactly.
We had work. My business partner Matt was selling. He was great at selling. He'd go sell it. I'd go buy trucks. He'd go sell it. I'd buy trucks. I'd buy mowers, and you can't grow. I mean,
you can grow, but it's going to be slow. I don't want to be, to be honest, I don't want to be 60 years old and still trying to grow something. 60, 70 years old trying to grow something. I want to get to the point where, like you said, you got that long term, right? To see, okay, what do I want to do when I get older?
Yeah.
And I talked to my wife today, I said, yeah, we might have all this debt, right? But we're building a business. We're building our our retirement, right? And I'm what, 38? I said, hell, by the time I'm 50, we should have something. We should have something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it's debt's unfortunately it's a necessary evil in our line of work. And, and that doesn't mean you go out and you buy a $75,000 truck to pull your lawnmower. That doesn't mean that's what you do. But for a lot of guys, buying a $65,000 skid loader, a lot of guys can't write a check for that or can't take that out of their cash flow, and that's understandable. But I think if it's something that you're using on a daily basis, a skid loader on a daily basis, or you plan to keep it for several years, there are certain things, and I'm no accountant, and when we buy larger pieces of equipment, I always talk to our accountant first. Does it make sense to buy this? Does it make more sense to lease this? And he asks a lot of questions. We don't own a mini excavator right now. We just don't, and the reason being is we use it 5 or 6 times a year. So we go to the company and we lease it for a few days and when we need it, and it just doesn't make sense for us to go spend $70,000 on debt on a mini excavator. It just doesn't make any sense. But I think there are some things where
there's risk.
It makes some sense to do some of that stuff.
And you guys, I can tell you, just our story. We bought used equipment for years and years. And I see some of these new guys starting out, and they're 2 years into business, and they got 2 brand new quad cab dualies jacked up with wheels, and I'm like, man,
smokestacks,
and I'm like, and I'm all brand new mowers, and man, it took us 15 years to probably buy our first new truck, and so we were able to, for $10,000, get get 2 trucks, and we could throw a paint job on them, and they looked pretty good, and I think a lot of guys, because money's easy to come by right now, you can go to John Deere right now and get all brand new mowers, and they'll give you 0%, and you got all brand new John Deere mowers. Or you can get creative and you can pick up 3 mowers that maybe have 1 season on them, and you got them for half the money. They're still good units. So I think you have to be creative and understand your costs, and that goes back to a totally different conversation. But understanding what does this piece cost? How much does it cost per hour? What's the maintenance service? What's the lifespan of it? And debt is part of growing a business. It's just got to be smart debt.
Yes.
You know, I encourage guys to try to own, own if they're in a building to own it, because now you have another piece of hopefully at some point passive
Asset.
income, and you have some assets because
Right.
we all know that the other stuff, trucks, mowers, that's
They're-
depreciating.
yeah.
That stuff's not worth much. But if you can hopefully along the way build some other outside, assets that
Right.
long term. You own the building,
Yeah.
right? And you own some stuff that has some value. Maybe you release it. Maybe you stay in it. Hopefully along the way you can kind of create your portfolio for retirement.
Right.
And LeRoy made a good comment, like 80% of the people that have businesses, or
Yeah.
80% of their money is in their business.
Yeah,
Business.
I was listening to a show here last week, and they talked about, most business owners, 80% of their retirement is their business.
Right.
And it goes on, and there's a whole lot more to it, but that's what entrepreneurs do. They build their business, and they hope to sell it someday. And gone on to, the guy went on to talk about is it truly a business? And that's a whole completely different conversation. But yeah, it's shocking that that is, but it's the truth. It's tied up in their assets, their accounts, their buildings, those different types of things, and that's their retirement.
Yeah,
Right.
It's nice to
they hope to sell
diversify if
that.
you can, and
Yeah.
if you have the opportunity to diversify, whether that's in real estate or separate investments or those types of things, it's nice to be a little bit more diverse as you continue to hopefully have some extra capital to diversify, so you're not all in. All
Right.
leveraged into this one business, and whether you end up selling that business or not, but you hate to have everything you own tied up to this one business that maybe it doesn't have a lot of value without you.
Right.
And as a small guy, guys that get into their 50s and 60s and they're still one or two crews, that business, they are the business.
Yeah.
And the truth is there's not a lot of value to that to sell.
Right.
Because they do business with Joe, and it's Joe's lawn care, and without Joe, there is no business. He's just
Yeah,
got some
definitely.
depreciating assets, and he's got no real estate with it, and the clients are kind of what they are, and so you gotta, this isn't a wealth
Yeah.
strategy meeting or podcast by any means, but and I think you've done some really cool stuff with diversifying your business and trying to create other opportunities for you and your family, and I think that's important. You hit on both of them, kind of both of them at.
Yeah.
What's the best advice you've been given? And then, is there any other advice you would give to the guy that's got one crew and he doesn't know if he should quit his full-time job, or maybe he's got one crew and he's trying to get to two crews? Is there any other advice that you might have for that guy that doesn't know if this is a hobby or a career yet?
I think that don't quit when the going gets tough.
Yeah.
When it gets tough, that's the time for growth. I think don't throw in the towel yet. You're almost there. Like you see on Facebook where the guy's chiseling
Yeah, and
away.
he's
almost through, but
But he gives up.
he gives up. He quits. It's just right
just
there.
Don't
You
know how
never
close-
know. Yeah,
you never know how close you are.
Yeah, you never
Really
know
well
how
said.
close you are to that point of you're almost there.
Yeah, it's the keep grinding, and it's the keep hustling, and again, it's you got to do it. I think that a lot of people, they want to work out for a week and be in shape. They want to work hard for a month and get rich. They want to, man, it's a grind out there,
Yeah.
and you've got to stay the course. You've got to stay the course if you believe in it. If you believe in
Yeah.
yourself, you've got to stay the course, and you've got to keep putting the work in. And you got to do it for the right reasons. If you're only driven by money, I
Right.
find that most of those people don't do that well. If you're driven by the passion for your business, the money will certainly come.
Yeah,
in
it'll come
time.
automatic.
And so
Yeah.
you just gotta stay the course and try to do the right things over and over and over. Be where you say you're going to be. Call people back. Excuse me. Do the things that you said you're going to do,
Definitely.
and that usually pays dividends.
It does. People don't understand how difficult it is to build a business
Right.
and grow a business and start a business. And it's by far more work than I ever thought it would be.
Yeah.
And you guys would probably say the same thing, especially scaling a business and getting it bigger and those types of things. It's tough, and there's always somebody trying to knock it down. And, there's always
Right.
struggles along the way that you don't see. But not giving up is big, and you know, we've talked about it, and you know, I at one point was ready just to be done. You know, it was difficult, and like we said, fortunately nobody take me up on my offer to sell. But
nobody wanted to buy your
nobody
the
wanted to
turd
buy
you had.
the big turd that we had at the time. But you know, it someday it'll all pay off, and that's you know what we really look forward to is you know, being able to get out of it one way or another, whether that's you know, selling it to somebody else or passing it along to your children or whatever that happens to be, and seeing it there. And you know, I think about, you know, I would love the day when we sell our business and we live happily ever after on a bungalow down in the Bahamas, my wife and I. But you know, the truth is you know, this is what we've done, and this is our baby, and this is what we grew. And you know, as much as I'd like to see someday we can maybe sell it to somebody, I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to, you know, we've looked at, you know, our company and what are we doing, you know, the next 3 to 5 to 10 years, what does that look like? And it's you know, and I don't think everybody needs to think that far out, but you know, are you building the business or are you creating a job? And those are two different things. And so yeah, you know, I think it's hopefully you guys, you know, learned something today, and you know, we appreciate you being here. Let everyone know how they can find you on all your platforms. You got a lot of stuff going on out there.
YouTube, you could find us at Chants Daily Hustle, and Instagram, same thing, Chants Daily Hustle. Facebook, Chants Daily Hustle.
No TikTok.
No TikTok. I started one. Blake got me started today.
Yeah, Blake Albertson with B&B. We were giving him a hard time. He's all over this TikTok, and so we're going to be dancing on some videos here soon, maybe. And but yeah, check out what he's got going on, guys. He puts out a ton of great content, and he shows a lot of what I like is just in the field, just showing what his people are doing, and shows inside of his embroidery business. And if you're looking for embroidery, he does some cool stuff for all kinds of major brands out there. And you can find all his stuff, you know, on the social media platforms, and you know, he's on there a lot. You post a lot of stuff. I was kind of joking before. I'm like, man, this guy, I don't know how he sleeps. I don't know when he sleeps.
I was in bed by 2 last night.
We found out last night he doesn't.
Yeah, it's a grind. It's certainly a grind out there, and man, we appreciate you being on the podcast, and we're going to be blasting this out, guys. We'll give everyone a notice when it's going to be live, and you'll be able to find it on Spotify, Apple, and all the platforms that you listen to podcasts, and we'll give you guys a heads up when it's going to be out there, and hope you liked what we brought to the table today, and we'll be coming back with some more episodes soon.
Yeah. Be sure to check us out on our Instagram page, The Green Grind, our Facebook page, The Green Grind Podcast, and you know, we have Kory's. What do you got? Your Ballard Innovative Products pages as well.
Yeah,
you know,
so
we'll blast a lot of stuff out there
so
too.
We're kind of sponsored by Ballard Products, and it's just a company that we try to bring great lawn care and landscape accessories to you guys. Hopefully, make you more safe, efficient, effective, and ultimately more profitable when you're working out in the field. I'm in the same business you guys are, so we try to bring you products that we think make our business work better and safer. And so check out that. We'll probably throw on a quick 40-second commercial about now, Kaz. Boom. And then, but yeah, again, guys, we appreciate it. And Chant, we appreciate you coming down and driving down and meeting with us. And I love your story, man. It's inspirational.
Appreciate it, man.
I hope guys find it useful for their business and in their daily life as well. So.
Absolutely. It's been a great story, and thanks for coming down. We know you're busy. You know, we took a big risk with the snow, but fortunately it didn't snow, so that's a good thing too. And we just appreciate your time and your you know, your candidness on some of your struggles too. It's a lot of guys struggle, and you know, it's not all roses all the time, and we truly appreciate it. So thanks for coming down.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Hey guys, thanks for listening. We're going to wrap this up with a quick word from our sponsor. We appreciate the support.
Are you looking to be more efficient, effective, safe, and profitable out in the field? Ballard Products has a full line of innovative products to help you in your everyday operations. From mower gear, trailer gear, backpack sprayers, equipment racks and storage, safety gear and equipment servicing products, and much, much more. We're sure you'll find something you can't live without. With over 30 years in the lawn care industry and 20 years selling great products, we're confident these products will meet the use and abuse of the everyday lawn pro. Jump on Ballard-Inc.com to check out the full line of gear, and be sure to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube as well. Keep grinding and be safe out there, friends.